Hello everyone. We are gonna do a daily quick draw for the collective and take it however it resonates for you. This is gonna be a very quick, short video for July 29, 2020 for the collective. Alright. I usually ask for 3 cards. I like number 3 because when I do the readings, the big readings, I do 9 cards, but not the typical 9 card spread though. I just like numbers that are divisible by 3, and my birthday is the same way, my month, my date, and some. I just like 3s, but if more cards come in, we'll take them. I will do good tarot and then clarify with the original deck. So we get the call and we get 9 of fire. And if you watch the previous video, we get the call as the energy for the entire read for the collective of July 2020. Bottom of the deck we have love, under which is ace of water. Okay, so the call, judgment, change, asking us to look at our past, asking us to reevaluate things in the past. We're being asked to, I want to say, pay for our sins, but also harvest the fruits of our karma, good karma that we've put out. So the judgment day is not only negative, because if you pass the judgment day by flying colors, you are gonna end up in heaven if you believe that, right? Whatever your religion or whatever your faith is, by, I think, common definition of the judgment day that has been brought to us by either religion or mythology, we're being asked to reevaluate our past and look at our sins and look at our good deeds, and then we will be given the consequences of that. And it doesn't have to be negative consequences if the good deeds are a lot more than the sins, right? Also realizing that not everything is that black and white, correct? We may have some things in the past that are neither sinful nor good deeds, but they are still there, and whatever they are, those seeds that we planted in the past are going to give us fruit today. And that fruit may be good, delicious, nutritious fruit, or it may be poisonous, and that is the consequence. So we are asked to look at ourselves. We're asked to look at our path. Then you have 9 of fire, and 9 of fire to me is the energy of exhaustion, but at the same time it's the energy of you're almost there. And yes, the next card in the original deck, which is 10 of fire, is burden, right? but at the same time, that's the worst of it. So Nine of Fire also sometimes to me is, sometimes when you go for a jog and you are almost home and that last block is the hardest because you're tired and you don't want to do it anymore. Yeah, that's exactly what this means to me, that we feel like we are exhausted and we have exhausted all of our energy, but we need to keep going. I'm going to read from the book that I usually do, because this book has really cool definitions of the cards, meanings of the cards. So, in this book, it says, it's caution, uncertainty, reevaluating circumstances. I need to stop, wait, and look around me before proceeding further. My sense of uncertainty is my inner wisdom telling me to bring illumination to my situation, to allow insights to arise and guide me before I take my next step. Questioning is good. I will look carefully to see if a different path may be right for me at this point. Okay, so this is a bit different interpretation from what I usually do, but let's see what they tell us here, right? Because in the context of the call and judgment and looking at our past and path that on which we've been on, and also my interpretation of exhaustion and kind of wanting to give up at that point, and put that together with what the book said about, even if you're questioning that, should I go on and do I have the strength to go on, which way am I gonna go on, the they say that it's good to have those questions, but I would add that you do need to go on. You do need to make that make that final step of whatever path, whatever completion you need to achieve, and then finish that cycle of whatever judgment is asking you to finish up, whatever conclusion of that chapter in your life needs to happen. And the card following that is Two of Air, Two of Swords, right? And well, first of all, Swords is the mental energy. Swords is thinking and trying to make a decision, and we have a few cards in the deck that are about making decisions, but for whatever reason I always interpret Two of Swords as when you're making a decision, but you're somewhat stuck in your own head instead of trying to really look around and look at different things and different perspectives to help you make that decision. And I guess coming from these two cards, one card of asking us to look back and reevaluate things and learn from our mistakes, and also receive the consequences of our actions, be it good consequences or bad consequences. And even though we may be feeling tired and confused and not knowing what to do right now, still having that inner strength and perseverance to push forward, and also being brave to look in the past, because look in the past can be quite painful, but they're asking us to do that, and the universe and our journey is asking us to do that, because in order for something new to begin, in order for our new chapter to begin, we need to conclude one. And especially the new chapter will not begin in a nice, clean, healthy way if we haven't evaluated the previous chapter, and we haven't learned from the previous chapter, if we haven't seen what serves us and what doesn't serve us based on our previous experience. And that's why we will get reborn after that process into something new, something better. And the Two of Air, the choice, and the decisions. It's not really necessarily a choice between two things, maybe a bunch of things that you're thinking about, and a bunch of steps, and a lot of past experiences that you're reevaluating. It shouldn't be just based on your interpretation of things, because we do tell ourselves certain stories in certain situations, and those stories must be questioned. We must question if whatever is in our head when we have that blindfold on, because in the original tarot, the two of air is the woman with the eyes blindfolded. When we are telling ourselves the stories, when it's only our brain that recalls that information, we need to really reevaluate and see, well, first of all, within me, what does my heart say? Because air is brain, but and the mind and the thought, but what does my heart say? How did my heart experience that situation? And also, what does the situation itself say? How does the situation present? How did it present back then? How is it presenting today? And are my stories based on facts, or are they just my stories and the narratives that I've been telling myself? Am I stuck in my brain only, or am I having balance between my mind, my heart, my soul, and my external as well as my internal? Okay, so just gonna get one card for cards falling. I'm gonna get one card for each of these, and then clarify like that. So the overall reading energy is, I can't shuffle cards today. Sometimes when that happens, I feel like I have more to say, and I guess you're right, because I didn't talk about the overall energy, which is Ace of Water, which is Ace of Cups, and Love, which is strength. And I was talking about how we are in the mind here in the Two of Air energy, and we need to have that balance between heart and mind and spirit and internal and external. I feel that as a collective, we are going to that new age of just being together, sharing love, sharing even the burden if it comes, and just achieving that state of overflowing love and strength, inner strength, and peace. Because look at her, she's just so peaceful. She's so peaceful with her lion, and then underneath Ace of Water. I feel like if we just go through this journey of self-awareness and balance within ourselves and the environment, within ourselves and the community, I feel like we will go to the space of overflowing love and comfort and peace. Okay, so I'm just gonna get 3 cards for each one of them. We got beautiful 10 of Cups for the call. We have the family, right? You have mom and dad, or whatever genders and configurations you identify with. But you have loving parents, and you have kids, and you have them looking over at what they have achieved and being proud and happy of it. But for whatever reason, I'm also looking at this red trail of this woman's dress. If you can look at it, there's this red bottom part of the dress, and bottom of the deck is the Empress for this clarifying deck. Um, and I'm also looking at them, just having their back turned at us, as at the reader, and they're just looking at their past, and their kids are also playing, and that also makes me think about somebody's childhood, and I just want to say that I know the Ten of Cups is a beautiful card, and Ten of Cups is the card of happiness and family. But in this reading, I want to interpret it this way: when we look in the past, like that song Barbara Streisand's "The Way We Were," she says, um, "What's too painful to remember, we tend to forget. So it's the laughter we remember when we remember the way we were." I want us to make sure that we are seeing the full picture. If there is some stains on our dress, in that memory, if there is some things in our childhood that we haven't looked at before, it doesn't have to mean that the Ten of Cups was not true. It just means that we need to really see everything for what they really were, and how it made us feel, and what are the consequences of those situations today, and how we can navigate our next chapter based on the truth of this situation, instead of having an image that's just ours in our head. And that can be applied if you turn this around. If a card of death or tower had come up here, I would say probably the same thing of, when we see that something is horrible, there probably isn't the only story that the whole situation was horrible. There may be something else there. And even if whatever was there was just the lesson that we learned, that's going to ensure that our next chapter doesn't repeat the same mistake, there you go. That was whatever was good in there. So anyway, this I'm interpreting with the Ten of Cups, with the call that we need to really look at situations and really understand all components of it to really learn from it. You have the Hierophant with the Nine of Fire, and it's so good that when we read the book, it said, it's good to be questioning, and it's good to have doubts at this point. And then the Hierophant is the card of intuition and the higher power, right? Higher knowledge, your actual inner truth. And then right after that, we have the Strength, clarifying this card of mental confusion that may be happening. And then we have the Strength here as well. Well, actually, no, this is love. This is not Strength. Why did I because it has a lion in it. Yeah. This is love. This is love, not strength. But it's so funny that I still interpreted it as strength. Well, regardless, you have lion in both of them, and the lion is the card of strength, not the card, the symbol of that strength, and the king of the kingdom, king of the animal kingdom, and the power, inner power. And if you think about lions are very friendly if if they're not hungry and upset. We see a lot of videos about very cuddly, happy lions, like the big cats, and but they're so strong. They're the master, and they're the king of the animal kingdom, and that is actually, I think, what we're being asked to do. That our power doesn't have to come from violence and fighting. It can come from being cuddly, happy, fed creatures that are really, really strong, but at the same time, they're peaceful. And the Ace of Water, which is emotional stability, being masters of our emotion, being aware of our emotions. I think when we achieve that, we do achieve the strength of the lion and the love that comes from that, because when you're able to harness all of your strength and all of your energy into emotional balance and stability, you will manifest love in your life. not in just romantic situations, but love from other things that we do need, such as family, parents, friends, and even love for our career, love for our work. So we have that strength card now here, and again, I interpreted that love card as the strength card, and that's kind of funny to me. I guess again because of how these pictures are so similar, isn't it? There's this woman taming the lion, and then there is this woman hugging the lion. Anyway, uh, it takes strength to look at your intuition. It takes strength to look at your past and question your happy memories, or even question your sad memories, and see if it was completely sad, because you've been living with it for a while. You've been telling yourself one story for a while, and now you have to question it and actually look deeper and find your inner truth. And it does take strength, but you will get out of this mental confusion energy if you do make that final step, and instead of being in the 9 of Wands, tired, not wanting to go on kind of energy, you do find some kind of strength in you to do go on and listen to your intuition and your inner truth and clear that confusion, mental confusion, and do get that judgment of consequences of whatever was in the past and the truth of the past. And then the outcome will be in all three of these cards, which is Empress, Ace of Cups, and the Love. Powerful, strong, stable combination. Okay, on that note, I will end this reading. I hope my poor nails did not freak you out too much during these times. I'm still cautious about going to a salon, and I guess my own manicuring skills are not that strong. So, have a great day. Spread positivity.